Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. This is the podcast for underappreciated wrestling fans. I'm joined today by my lovely host on NXT Time with D Walk on Wednesdays, Mr. D Walk. How are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing today?
Awake and ready to talk about something that might get us in trouble for an hour. However, before we continue, like, subscribe, comment, and all that jazz. Joe, we love you. We are
Yeah,
in your prayers. You are in ours. Kane, please be
yeah.
safe. Everything else. Check out the Misfit Nation podcast on YouTube. BMAC, one of the members of the podcast as well, was on there yesterday talking about topics while and
Hey,
behind.
it's
Shout out to
pretty interesting, bro. I was
yeah,
impressed.
yeah, yeah. BMAC, like I said, BMAC can hold his own as long as he has his composure. And I respect
Yeah,
him for that day for that. So I would give you that.
yeah. That was pretty dope. I watched it and then that was pretty dope. I was really
Yeah.
impressed.
I was on bated breath. I'm like, but he did his thing, so I respect that.
Yeah.
Um, Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 topics, maybe 4, but usually we're here for at least an hour talking about wrestling news, rumors, and we will talk about certain topics, everything else. If you like it, leave a comment down below. If you don't like it, leave a comment down below. And Jaida Parker, if you're listening to this, I hope you understand that this is not a clout chase. This is not us browbeating you. This is just a discussion. And honestly, to quote The Wire, paraphrasing, I wish Joe was here. Joe lives for this type of shit. Um, but we love you, Joe. So
Yeah.
wherever you are, be safe. Now, Mr. D Walk, are you aware of the Jaida Parker situation? Not both situations, but let's start off with the supposedly transphobic comments. Have you been aware of that?
I am.
Okay.
I am
And
aware.
okay, thank you for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get any more, this is what I mean by that. Part 1 of the Jaida Parker discussion. Let's go. Okay. Now, for everyone watching, to give you context, what I showed you right now was a text chain on Twitter over the fact that the first picture you saw was sports figures, and it said that a House Senate has passed a bill separating transgender women to women's sports and
Mhm.
athletes. She liked that post, and people screenshotted it. She had a nice little Twitter war back and forth with other people for a little bit, and then eventually has died down because something else has popped up. But let's start out with this right here. Now, what are your thoughts on? And again, you can be honest, no judgment here. Everyone is unbiased. Everyone has a opinion on everything. But let's get to that first. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on her liking that post,
Now,
which is basically in a sense transphobic, but not completely. In a sense, go. I'm right back.
mine is all right. It's transgender. It's against me.
Yeah.
I'm against it. I mean, it's an abomination. Like it's in the Bible. That's not what it's supposed to be. But like how she said it, I'm against everything, bro. Like I'm against like me personally, I'm a man of the Bible. Like I go by the Bible. Uh LBGT, transgenders, I'm against that. But I'm not gonna knock you. I'm not gonna disrespect you just because you like that. But to me, it's I'm against it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Now, I was trying to find my phone because I had some notes, but my thoughts on transgender, and let's just start off by transgender in like transgender women
Yeah.
in. Let's start off with that. Now, I had to go back in the halls of history and trying to find certain things to talk about, and my opinion is this as follows. I don't think it was an abomination because if we look back in history, before we started hating on transgender. It was
Mhm.
hermaphrodites, and before hermaphrodites, it was gay people. Before gay people, it was black people. Before black people, it was any other race that's not Protestant. And anything other than Protestant, it was if you're a woman and you're smart, you're a witch. And if we go back that back, we go a little bit more. If you're not Christian, you're this. All over the years, century by
Mhm.
century by century, it's always based on something that we have to be fearful of because of lack of information.
Mhm.
It is a my opinion by looking through the facts of life, it is not a thing that happened in the last 60, 50 years. It is something
Mhm.
that's been happening over centuries and centuries
Yeah.
and centuries.
Yeah.
Biologically, men are men, women are women, all that stuff. But
Mhm.
biologically, sometimes, and I do mean it might mean this sometimes you're look like a boy on the outside, but then you're born with lady parts on the inside, or born with
Yeah.
lady parts on the bottom part. Again, that's not someone at birth or someone in utero saying I'm gonna like
Yeah.
mess up your child. It's just genetically a statistic that happens.
Mhm.
A statistic, the same way where it is genetically has been proven that most people are gonna be born gay or
Mhm.
born with schizophrenia or born with mental illness. That's
Mhm.
just the way genetically that's how it is. So let's get
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah, but sometimes I think they
Yeah,
forced into it. But you
true.
also remember in the Bible,
Yes.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Remember that, right?
Yes.
That was an
No, I
abomination. Like it was man on man, women on women.
true.
Uh, and guess what happened to them? Like God took them out. That's the same
True.
thing that's going on right now with that wildfire thing. That's me personally. That's what's going on. Like,
Okay. Okay, we can elaborate a little bit that more, a little bit more down a little bit on the thing. And but again, I grew up with the Bible as well. I grew
mm-hmm,
up with a very Christian household,
mm-hmm,
and I did try other religions, Hare Krishna, the Quran,
mm-hmm,
and a little bit of Mormon, a little bit of Protestant, and other things, and all of those religions all had the same concept
yeah,
of
yeah,
we are trying to show you and try to understand what that is, and we will show you what our version of, because again,
yeah,
if we go by what a book says, then if we go to Mormonism, basically what a guy went inside of a cabin and came back with a Bible, that happens. If we go
mm-hmm,
by Scientology, who is which is an actual religion which people pay actual money for, they think that everyone has a little spiritual center inside their body, and that a giant alien out of a volcano will come out. These are real things I'm saying. I'm not making this shit up. Scientology actually believes that stuff. So let's
yeah,
go golf. That's what I mean. It's based off who wins and based off how it's being perceived as time. Because again, if it wasn't for the Salem witch trials, and where we always know that by one person's ignorance is another person's
mm-hmm,
um advantage, because again, in the Salem witch trials, if you were smart or knew medicinal things or got talked
mm-hmm,
back or pissed off another person's wife, they would just say you're a witch, you'll get burned. And it took
mm-hmm,
hundreds of something years to say like, oh shit, that was wrong. Now the delve a little bit more, I want to shout out, I'm going to actually clip this, shout out to Kicking It with Ross. He talked about this as well, and he was confused about people. Why are people jumping on Jada Parker? Why are like uh saying this is transphobic and everything else? Because of the fact of this, everyone is saying, Joe has said this, you has said this, other
mm-hmm,
Krishan from the Misfit Nation podcast has said this, like, oh, everyone should have their own league, like the trans
mm-hmm,
people should have their own league. And I was with that idea of thought as well. I'm like, okay, fine,
yeah,
everyone has their own league and everything like that, and that makes some sense. But however, I was reminded, shout out to Kicking It with Ross, for this.
mm-hmm,
If this, I asked you, Dennis, because you're a person that might understand this. It's like I would as well.
mm-hmm,
Um, if this was the 40s and 50s and 30s, and instead of it being a trans league, we
mm-hmm,
were talking about black and white, and it
mm-hmm,
was the sense of like a Negro league. If you
yeah,
remember back in those times, like, oh, these people are filthy.
yeah,
These people shouldn't be mixed with us. They should have their own league. And
yeah,
what happened from there is that it blew up. It was a beautiful thing that happened with the Negro League and everything else. But however, we had to remind ourselves these are people in power deciding what is good and what is not good based on their own beliefs,
mm-hmm,
not because again, that was a segregation thing that they thought it was good. People actually believed that if any person of color sat on your toilet, it would destroy that toilet.
Yeah.
These are real things
Yeah,
that
it's
are
real.
happening. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we fast forward to now, there are some instances where people are dressing up like women to go inside
Mm-hmm.
bathrooms and be fucking perverts. There are some instances of girls dress up like guys and trying to do things. Over the years, ladies and gentlemen, people have been doing this in movies. People have been doing this in media. Okay. One of my
Hey,
favorite
remember
movies is, yeah, go on now.
in real life when the Titanic sank, it was men dressing up as women just to get on the boat, just to live.
Yes. So something that historically happened in the Titanic, and that was in the 1907, 1911s,
1920s.
1920s. And there is cultures, even back in Africa, there's cultures of men dressing up as women and hermaphrodites being in their own little club because they were being ostracized and hunted. Hell, even in Africa, if you're albino, witch doctors to this day would chop you up because they think is a sign of luck. These are traditions, ladies and gentlemen, that people still do to this world today. And these are things that, in a perspective of whoever is winning and whoever owns, thinks that's okay. I don't think cannibalism and killing albino people in Africa because for their magical properties is
No.
okay. But another person's disgust is another person's religion.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about right now with Jaida Parkin. I swing it all back here.
Yeah.
It's amazing that not you, but other people around the world, like, oh, we shouldn't do this. They should have their own fucking league. However, no one who has been saying this is a athlete themselves, has been in an athletic community, has even watched Olympian games. So the question for you, Dennis, why are people bitching about Olympian sports and female sports when the fact of the matter is that nobody absolutely watches it? No
Okay.
one. I'm
So
sorry for Olympic sports, but I've
no,
never
yeah,
seen
no, I
someone say,
understand. So
save the women's team.
is it fair? Is it fair if you the best athlete ever in the world and you have that
Yeah.
female that come and then outdo you, and just because the she used to be a he is stronger than you and better than you, is that fair? That's not fair.
That's not fair, but this is the part that I get mad about this thing. Everyone's talking about transgender women and women's sports. Nobody's talking about transgender men and men's sports. Everyone's just focusing on the women's side of things.
No, I'm
No
talking about the
one,
women. I'm talking about the women. I'm talking about the men
yeah,
converting over to the women.
yeah. It's again,
That's the
it's
so. So did you
yeah,
hear about? Did you hear about the transgender men that switched over to a woman and boxed a woman in a
yeah,
boxing ring, and he killed her?
yeah. Yes, that's true. And then remember back in the Olympics that there was a person that looked like a man that had this whole controversy, almost got her title stripped away
Mm-hmm.
because of a technicality that American Olympics take, but the European Olympics are like, we don't really give a shit about that
Yeah.
because she was a woman. She just has very male genetics, which is a normal condition that it happens to people. And because of that, that woman lost her chance to even be representative. And the one woman that got her ass beat by that other boxer was the
Yeah.
one that started it all. And all she did was, I'm sorry, I said that. I didn't mean to. A slap on the
Mm-hmm.
wrist. When this other person's life was destroyed. In terms
Yeah.
like that, even looking like a man now will
Mm-hmm.
get you classified as transgender when this person wasn't. That's what I mean. The fear of just talking about it and even grouping people together, again, it's wrong. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
wrong for me if a man transitions into a woman and wants to do swimming. Guess what? If that person's helping you in your fucking team and winning fucking medals and doing something and getting noticed and getting more sponsor for your money, because in reality, I have never in my life, no disrespect to Olympian
Yeah.
fans, but I have never watched women's swimming, women's
Yeah.
fencing, women's soccer. No one has ever given women's NBA, no disrespect to women's
Yeah.
NBA, but I'm not gonna fucking watch it.
But
It's
not
just
when
not
it's
my
against
thing.
you. But when it's against you, of course you
Yeah,
go be mad. Like, man, I used to be a man. Like
yeah.
a man is like 100 times stronger than a woman. Of course, that would be mad.
Depending, because it has been medically proven that a woman or a mother that sees a baby will have the cosmic strength to lift that car up to take that baby out under there. That's just a mother's love, and that's not because of a man or a woman. That's just the determination and the spirit of that person to do that. Because again, I live in Puerto Rico, ladies and gentlemen. I have seen women construction. I have seen women garbage man. I have seen women do things just like men do. Women cutters, everything else. Over here in Puerto Rico, it's a standard to be like, oh, I'm a man, I'm gonna work, and you go to things. But now these days, I'm like, I'm a woman. I got me a fucking badass bike. I do tricks. I go out. I bling out my fucking car. It's all a perspective of how you look at things. D-Walk. And I try to tell people that now. Jaida Parker, I try to turn this back around. Jaida Parker, because she was a D1 athlete, because she did her sports and everything, I think, in my opinion, and Jaida Parker, I don't know if you're watching this or not, but Jaida Parker, I think you feel entitled because you have fellow people in D1 sports. Oh, I don't want a man going in there in soccer and everything else. Truth be told, the reason that they hired you was not because you're D1 sports. Let's be fucking real, Jaida.
Because it looks.
It's because of the fucking looks. It was never because of the fucking sports. Because Brinley Reese and Kehlani Jordan are in D1 sports.
Bianca Belair.
D1 sports. Bianca Belair wasn't picked because of fucking, her sports. She's a great athlete, but they looked at her and said, "You're a beautiful fucking woman. Let's come in." That's it. Shawn Michaels has a fucking preference, and Shawn Michaels has been sending that fucking preference for a long time. So don't tell me, Mrs. Jaida Parker, oh, I was picked because of my talents. No. Your finisher is your booty. So don't tell me, oh, that's because, no, don't. That's what gets me mad.
How Michael said, it ain't your booty. It ain't your beauty. It's your booty.
It's your booty. And exactly. Like I said, hold up.
No knock off.
Daddy, chill.
Gotta do it. Sorry, I had to do it.
No, but
I did it to myself too.
I know. I'm just shocked though, because I was trying to get a point up. But it's no knockoff to Jaida. Like, she got a potential to be a great wrestler. And like I said, this is like her second year. She got a lot of potential. I want to see her grow. And then, like, if you look at, like, I give you my number and everything, so, holla at me, you know what I mean? Wink, wink, you know what I mean? But, I get that. She got a lot of potential, though.
Yeah.
She got a lot of potential. I can see a lot of growth.
Now, she has a lot of potential, you know that. But here's the thing that you have seen as well, because we lived through this. Now, you remember the cancel culture in the 2020 era of everyone getting picked up and just being cancel cultured. And people some people have recovered, some people haven't. And that's the point I want to say about Jaida Parker. Jaida Parker fucked around and found out because you made a public opinion, a liking. It's still a like. In this day and age, anything you do is being filtered. The more followers you have, the more fans you have, the more stalkers you're going to have. The more people are going to be pro-Jaida, anti-Jaida. The same thing with Steve Austin. Same thing with John Cena. Same thing with Seth Rollins. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. Same thing with The Undertaker and 80% of the roster who like Trump. The point is this. Instead of you like the post, you could have shut the fuck about that. You could have let them not accumulate rumors against you, but if you would have not said anything, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. Come here. If we had not said anything, then I got the invisible woman here with me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo, what's up, invisible woman?
I do up.
Yeah.
I'm doing.
But if that was being said, you're being watched right now. You put and liked a topic. You should have not said anything. Then you doubled down. Then you tripled down. Then you quadrupled down. And because of that, you are now the subject of hate. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you look up Jaida Parker on Wikipedia and B-Mac, you might want to read this. Yeah. This pops up.
Like I said, to me, when you're a celebrity, you gotta watch what you say. Just like Denzel Washington in the movie Gladiator movie he did. He said he did a kissing scene and it was cut out. Look how long that shit went.
Mhm.
That shit went crazy because Denzel kissed a man. We ain't never heard about Denzel kissing a man.
Yeah, well,
That shit was crazy.
there was a movie where Denzel did heroin and then got the clap. That's an old one. Like that's with damn, Martha Landau. No, was it Landau? I'll find that movie later. One of my favorite movies of all time. Of Denzel, really rated.
No, this was new. This was in the Gladiator movie, but they cut it.
Yeah, I know.
And Denzel said he kissed a man.
There you go. And Invisible Woman's there, ladies and gentlemen. The thing is this, like, even if you go back a couple years ago, like the Buzz Lightyear movie got flack because two women were hugging each other at the end, and then like this cancel culture from 2020 till now has based on like whatever you do will come back to bite you. The guy from Deadpool, that one glasses guy, he got cancel culture before he even got into the next movie. He just, by the time he got to part 3, like, oh, you're axed. Freaking hot. Well, other people were monsters. Like the guy from that 70s show, he was a monster. He got caught with a whole bunch of other things. Kevin Spacey, freaking the Subway guy. Yeah. Everybody got canceled because of things. And now Jaida Parker, you're gonna have this stain, this disgusting stain on you because no matter what, even if you say you're not transphobic, you double down, and now because of that, in the next 10 years, when you try to bring up, you'll become a champion, and then you'll do all these things. You might be in movies. Someone in 2025 will bring up this tweet, will bring up this topic, and it will be swirling back around all over again, which is the saddest thing in the world for your ass, Jaida Parker. Ironically, me saying sorry about her ass because the reason that's for me, I don't like her because of her fucking ass. But this was a woman. What are your thoughts on this topic if you want to talk about these things? If not, we're going to go on to the next topic.
I don't know. I mean, I don't agree. I don't think it's cool to be transphobic, but I also don't think that cancel culture is forgiving in the slightest. So that's why, like, we did want to hear her side of things, and not talk about it like a gossip issue. But I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, she made a mistake, and the wrestling fans are very unforgiving about it. But also, like, maybe they should be unforgiving. Like, maybe we should talk about, like, you want to call it, you want to say that it wasn't transphobic. It's not a transphobic, like, mindset to have, but it kind of is if you're talking about excluding them from sports. I don't know, but
we talked about that in the beginning of the show, where it, for me, is like segregation back from the 40s and 50s. Like I talked about before.
And that's what I mean. This is what I mean when I say freedom of speech is dying, because, like I said, like we should have the right to speak our opinion on how we want to say shit. Like, we don't like it, we should have that opinion on the speaking and everything, but people get offended by it. That's the whole thing about what's going on now. Like, people, they get offended by a lot of shit too easy and everything. Instead of analyzing and making it better, they get offended by it.
Well,
the way it was in the 90s and 80s and everything. Somebody tell us some shit, we analyze that shit and accept it. Now they're going around where, like, oh yeah, he said this to me, I'm gonna kill myself. No, that ain't how we is though. Like, we strong, we built strong. Like, what the fuck a fucking verbal had to do? Ain't nobody put hands on to you. Why the fuck is you getting offended like this? Like I said, this is where I say freedom of speech is dying, and they trying to kill it.
Well, that's where, like, I don't know. That's why I have so many mixed opinions about it, because on the one hand, like, I don't know. It's freedom of speech and freedom of opinion, but without getting into whether that opinion is wrong or not, like, as if you're in the public eye, you should be aware that, like, people are going to be critical of, certain opinions you have. And if you're going to have those opinions, at the very least, keep them to yourself. So yes, the mistake made was liking a tweet, and then people see that and run with it. The part that bothers me, and that's why, like, I'm so bothered by it is like people found any possible opportunity they could to cancel a woman, and it's like they'll do one minor infraction and then get completely like steamrolled because of it, and that's I hate when that happens to somebody. So it's like, again, I'm not gonna make it an issue of is she transphobic, is she not? It's like I don't know. At the end of the day, people as a whole, that's where I'm like, are wrestling fans really even that outraged about like standing up for trans rights? Like,
yeah, because D-Walk knows this. Do you remember that guy back in the 2013s? He came out in WWE. They found out he was gay. He was the tag team partner for Tyson. The millions of dollars. I forgot what the guy's name was.
Oh, you talking about motherfucking goddamn motherfucking it wasn't Titus O'Neil, it was his partner.
Yeah. It was partner. I say his partner. His partner.
Yeah.
And he was the only openly gay wrestler in WWE out of 300 wrestlers. The only one.
Yeah.
So they ran with it. And they gave him like, oh, this is gay. When it was Gay Pride Month, they ran with that shit. They gave him
nobody even know for a while that he was gay.
Yeah.
Nobody knew for a long time he was gay.
Everyone kind of knew, but they couldn't like openly say it. Like, we all know this guy's kind of gay, but we can't say it. Oh, he's openly saying it. Let's go. And on Gay Pride Month, let's go. The second Gay Pride Month finished, his ass was buried like a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
Because it was part of the trend. Here,
the only person I haven't seen that get done like that was what's his name? Anthony Bowen. That's in TNA. Man, that's in AEW.
AEW, yeah.
And
he just came out of promo and said, "I'm fucking gay." What are you talking about? I'm live on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that's what they would do, because that's always been my experience with like companies in Pride Month is they'll use that as an opportunity to like
make money,
bolster their shit, like change their flag, change their profile picture on Twitter to a rainbow flag, and then say like Happy Pride Month, and we're golden, we're set, right? But once the month's over, it's like, okay, you cease to exist anymore.
Just like Black History Month.
Yeah,
just like Black History Month.
So I'm not at all unfamiliar with that.
You recognize black people for the whole February. After that, it's like, oh yeah, we forget about you. Like,
someone gets a belt or a title opportunity and that's it. Only on those days.
And then it's just okay. That month's over.
But let's post a question for Jaida Parker. If Jaida Parker, and if you're listening to this right now at 29 minutes, would you wrestle Nyla Rose? Would you even give the chance to fight Nyla Rose? Because Nyla Rose is a transgender man that turned into a man that turned into a transgender woman. And what happened is that, like I told you before, you can grab it. Like I told you before, is that in certain states she couldn't wrestle, because in those states they don't recognize a transgender woman as a woman. And it's what's happening in AEW for a little bit, about a year or 2 years ago. It kind of died down. But I posed a question, like, what if WWE hires Nyla Rose? Like, will the women wrestlers in the WWE like say, "Oh, I don't want to do that," or will they embrace it for something new?
And that's where, again, like, if we're really going to talk about trans athletes in sports, why do we feel like they have to be excluded? If two women wrestlers or two male wrestlers can fight each other and be in totally different weight classes, have totally different styles of wrestling, and still have a successful match where nobody gets hurt and nobody is totally overpowered, why is that not possible for a trans athlete to have the same level of match? So why do they have to be in a league of their own?
Because they got man strength. That's just like if you and Alex get to wrestling, Alex got man strength. Alex is gonna be stronger than you. I'm just saying, like, in general, like a man wrestling a woman, like, I'm just saying.
Now I would, if this was back in the 90s or 80s, you can contest that. But because shout out to my beautiful girlfriend who watched the first ever episode, the second ever episode of AEW, and you saw Riho, 98-pound woman against Nyla Rose, a 200-pound woman, and it would work in terms of wrestling terms. It fucking worked.
Because I mean, that's the thing. Number one, if a trans woman is fighting against another woman, then regardless of, I don't know, like it doesn't seem like they'd really have that much of an advantage. I don't know. And I'm not going to get into like all of the statistics because Lord, I know fucking conservatives love their statistics. But I don't know. It's just, the point is that like lots of people have some kind of natural advantage because of genetics or whatever. So like they get to fight with everybody else in their own way. So why can't somebody who might be a little bit more naturally strong fight against the wrestler? Because here's the thing, right? It's all a fucking show anyway. It's not legitimate like college wrestling where you're fighting an opponent to see who wins. You know who's going to win before you even get in the ring. So you're entirely capable of blocking out a match that is safe and easy to perform regardless of who wins. And just like he said, if it's Riho versus Nyla Jax, maybe Nyla Jax would have beat Riho in legitimate like strength contest, but that's not what this was. It was a show, and Riho beat her in the show.
Clean.
So why is it not possible that we can't just have trans athletes fighting regular wrestlers?
I was telling this was recently where a trans fought a woman in boxing and he killed her.
Yes,
he killed her.
We talked about that. Yes, and
he killed her though. And like I said, to me, that's not cool. Like I said, a man hitting a woman, that's not cool. I don't condone that.
Of course.
So that's where I come into the fact where like, no, they should have a league of their own.
Okay. And again, this is something that we say now. It's something that we say now because, again, if this, and I bring up the fact that if this was the 30s and 40s, oh, that black guy shouldn't box because he's more stronger. Oh, this gay guy shouldn't tennis because he's gay and like whatever he might, like the terms that I've heard over the 80s and 90s. And
James Brown even said it. James Brown said it. This is a man's world. Remember that song, right? Damn, I guess he froze up. Y'all thought I froze. I tricked y'all. Tricks on y'all. But damn, Invisible Man froze up and everything. But like I said, hey, what's your opinion? How do y'all feel about that thing? Like I said, everything is written in the Bible. Everything's written in the Bible about everything. Like everything is written in the Bible. It was written. We're at the end of the days right now. And like I said, to me, like the freedom of speech thing, everybody says freedom of speech. Like it's now that they're trying to take our freedom of speech away. I should have the right to say whatever the fuck I want to say. Anybody should. Jada Parker should have any fucking right to say whatever the fuck she want to say and however she feel. That's what's wrong with the world. Everybody too sensitive about shit they say. Quit being fucking sensitive, bro. Come on. Let's get this shit right, man. As I take this sip of my wine, and I'm drinking wine today. Don't judge me. Where the fuck you at, Invisible Man? But on that segment, Jaida Parker, her comment, like I said, her comment, freedom of speech. She said she should have the right to fucking say whatever the fuck she wanted to say. Everybody should have the fucking right to say whatever they want to say. It's a free world. I said, as long as I put my hands on you and whatever, bro, I got the right to say whatever I want to say to you. Let that make sense. Come on. This is what we get into. Like, this is where the world we get into where everybody's so sensitive about words and everything. So, back in my day, the 80s, 90s, they wasn't even like that. Come on, man. Let's get this shit right, man. We got too much to lose for we to be crying over what people say. Y'all ain't never heard of sticks and stones may hurt you, but words may never hurt you. Man, what they say is, how the fuck is sticks and stones may hurt you, but words, oh, whatever the fuck, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. But words ain't gonna hurt you and everything, but sticks and stones, that shit. But, man, get out y'all feelings, bro. Like, it don't make sense. We grown people, man. Let's grow up. We trying to do better, be better. Come on, man, let's get it. Invisible man, I don't know where the fuck you at. Where the next topic at? Let's go. So I gotta keep it going on some bullshit and everything. So, like I said, Joe get better. Goddamn, he popping on right now and shit. Like, look.
Have you been here by yourself, Dennis?
Oh, what the hell?
Hey, I was just random rant and everything. I was just like,
there we go.
Were you holding
I was
down
just
the
on a
fort?
random rant. I was talking for
He
you and me.
said it
I was
too.
talking for us.
Yeah.
Huh?
He said you were probably gonna be like, "Oh, this is my show now. I'm D-Walk."
NXT time with D-Walk. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Hey,
No, appreciate it.
I done took the shot. I done drank some wine.
Shout
I
out
done
to
said,
Jaida
man,
Parker.
fuck him and everything. It's me and everything. Like, watch this. I done said a lot of shit where if I said it in front of you, I would have got dinged for it and everything. So I was like, yeah, he ain't here, so I might as well get out of the way with it.
Use the button if we weren't here, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I said everything. Though I said all kind of shit. I said big tits, fags, all that shit, bro. Like,
all right. Listen.
All right, and because of that, he just ran himself out. And I'm going to press the button.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even?
I deserve it.
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna comment on the whole free speech thing and like.
Yeah. I just said that. I just said something about the freedom of speech. People so sensitive about the freedom of speech and everything. Like I said, everybody should have their own right to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, and I respect that to an extent, but for me, it's always been like human rights comes first, kind of thing. Like human rights comes before the notion of free speech to hate. But I don't know. For me, like I get where you're coming from in terms of like safety and like strength overpowering, but the examples of like that doesn't apply to every situation. And for me, like I view, if a man transitions into a woman, I view them as a woman. I no longer refer to them as a man if they don't identify as a man. So like in all of the hypotheticals of that, like a trans woman walking into a bathroom or a trans woman being, included in sports with other women, like I think that it can, I don't know. I think we only make it into an issue because people see it as something that they're not comfortable with. And
okay, so I'm gonna give you a scenario. You got a kid. Oh, B-Mac. What's up, B-Mac? What's going on?
What's up, B-Mac's in the thing?
Comment or something?
Yeah, B-Mac in the.
Yeah, he commented.
Oh, hey, B-Mac. Thanks for stopping by.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Nice little intimate episode today. So we'll see you next week, bro.
No, but
shout out to you. You had a great show yesterday.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, great show. Yeah, for real. Shout out. Great show. I watched it, bro. Great show. But say like you have a kid and your kid go in the bathroom and you got a transgender and walk in there and you're not even in there, wouldn't you not, or would you get worried about this situation?
No, I mean that's the thing where like I feel like, and whoever started this, you know, association is at fault. But like, there's this like let's talk about it, right? There's this stereotype that people have of
Mhm.
oh, we don't want trans people in the bathrooms they want to be in because they might be like creeps or something. And it's like it's more likely that there is like an actual man creeping in the women's bathroom than I would be uncomfortable with like a trans woman walking in. Like it doesn't bother me if I look over at a woman, regardless of whether they might seem like they were born as a man, I don't view them any differently if I'm standing next to them in a bathroom, regardless of whether I have a kid with me or not.
Yeah, but it ain't
It's
that.
still
It's
safe
just
in my eyes.
it's just that a used to be man walking in the women's bathroom. That's the whole part. Everybody, that's the whole part people get mad to look at it about.
But that's the part right there. It used to be a man. Like if you're a transgender woman, the most likely outcome is that you chopped off or converted your genitalia to be something else. Because there is.
Did you read that?
There is medication. Drop the link. I'll pull it up. I'll be there in a second, sir. Let me see. Let's see right here. Trans folk don't bother me any more than anyone else. My antenna's always up regardless. Thank you, sir. Butter.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm always aware of my surroundings, and as a woman, like I have more to be worried about in terms of my own safety than another woman walking into a bathroom, and that's just the reality of a situation.
There is same gender bathrooms here in the University of Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
been like that for years. No, not one problem here. Not one. Not one.
I will say, in like the spaces I've been in recently, the way that they've been combating that is just having all gender bathrooms, and they're either like privatized or like they just have a little bit more privacy that anyone can use the bathroom and nobody's gonna like side eye over it. It's a bathroom for
like
everybody.
I said, it don't bother me. I mean, like I said, it don't bother me, but know your role. Like, don't try to shoot your shot at me. Because I'm not having it. Like I said, I have no issue. But once you do that, you cross the line. Like,
well, that's fine. I mean, but that's the same. Like, let me give you a hypothetical. What if you like accidentally walked into a gay bar? Like, would you be mad at somebody for shooting their shot? All you got to do is respectfully turn it down. You never know. You never know, T-Walk.
I know. Okay, like me, I know a gay bar.
I've heard stories where guys are innocently enough, they walk in, they're like, "Oh, this is great. I love this vibe," and then they start getting glances from other guys, and they're like, "Oh, he just tried to buy me a drink."
Oh, why there's no girls?
It could happen. All you gotta do is say, "Look, I don't float that way," and respectfully turn it down. Yeah,
I've been through there, bro, many a time.
And it's my thing though. When I go into clubs like that, I have a bag full of Viagra, and I put them in drinks. And once I see that imprint in your pants, it's over. I'm walking out. Like, I'm done.
Well, it's fine.
Speaking of being
I'm Bill Cosby. Hey, I'm Bill Cosby. Viagra in people drinks.
All right.
Joe, hold up, Joe. You don't have to press the button. Not for you, but for this guy. This guy's,
What?
Daddy, chill.
What the hell?
Wow.
You knew damn well we were gonna press that button.
Look.
You knew damn well.
Do you know how he perfected that technique?
How?
By wearing dresses, looking in the mirror, and testing it on himself.
Hey man.
Hold on, I got you, B-Mac. Hold up now. I think what you're trying to say to him is this.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
Hey, here you go.
Well, here I go. What?
Hey, we go way back. You know how we. Come on. It's bullshit.
Now, since you're here, Mr. Joe BNCO, we were on the tail end of the first subject. Bless you. We were talking about Jaida Parker and supposed alleged transphobic comments and free speech. So please leave your thoughts. And cancel culture. So please leave your thoughts on the whole subject. So you and Cardala have a healthy debate.
Yes, I already debated it out with D-Walk. So it's your turn.
So for one, freedom of speech and expression should be allowed for everybody.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about something, it is freedom of speech and expression in the United States for that reason. Just because you don't agree on the subject does not mean that that either one of you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that she made her stance on what she felt like she was doing, which is what she felt like she sided with. And I don't feel like she's done anything wrong.
Yeah. Now, my response to that with D-Walk was a few things. Number one, like, yes, everyone is entitled to free speech, but for me, you know, protecting human rights comes before like the right to hate on a group of people, in my opinion. But
True, but
I know it's not that black and white for Jada's issue. That's where let me get there, because like I do agree that for this, like it was liking a tweet and then her attempting to stand up for herself over like a few text messages, which you can see in the background. But she really hasn't been given a chance to defend herself or speak up on how she really feels about the issue. And in the span of like 48 hours, like her career could be ruined because of this. And I don't think that that's fair. And
it's not.
So
it's not.
To that effect.
And on top of that, I personally, this is my views and my views alone, I don't feel that a trans man should be in women's sports.
Well, when you say trans man,
I feel that it is an unfair advantage because of the testosterone and the size of a man to be into a woman's sport. I feel it is dangerous. And I feel it is not fair.
Okay.
To the females of that sport.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to chime in with something?
With that being said, have you seen or taken the time to watch any of these sports that people are getting outraged on?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of the five.
Yes.
I don't watch any of these.
Yeah. Have you seen what happened with the one trans woman that broke the woman's face?
What, you talking about the boxer?
Yes.
Okay, now D-Walk talked about the one that killed a person, and I talked about the one that was deemed a man, but at the end of the day, she was not a man. She was born a woman. She just has a really high testosterone level, which is a normal condition some women have.
Mm-hmm.
Just not all women, some women. Just they have male.
No, I'm talking about where the fucking woman died because the dude was pummeling her ass and everything.
Yeah.
Just like in the USA, like it was the USA swimming. Yeah. I'm the #1 swimmer in the fucking world. Here you come. You a man, used to be a man, and you outdo me. I'm gonna be mad about this shit. Hell yeah.
Of course you're gonna be mad about that. Yeah, of course you're gonna be mad. But because of that madness, it's that one boxer talked about right now, her reputation was ruined in the Olympics because of bullshit like that. Like honestly, because it's just the way it was. Like that person who did all the work that went to the Olympics, that looked like a guy. Yeah, sure, what the fuck ever. You look like a dude. That's just a manly face. That's called being normal in the fucking world. Not everyone is gonna be a league of their own. Shout out to my girlfriend for that. A league of their own. And Joe knows about this fucking movie. There was a woman in that movie based on real life that she looked like a guy, but she was a girl. She just had manly features. That motherfucking get hit a fucking ball like a beast.
I mean, it seems to me that like the level of testosterone in a person's body should not
identify,
be what qualifies a person. And like I was telling D-Walk, like I don't know, I understand you guys are bringing examples where like people have had like serious injuries or even been killed. But those sound like outlying examples of that individual's fault. Like if a person was pummeled somebody to death, they probably had a fucking anger problem. I don't think it had to do with them being trans. So I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just a matter of like if a person chooses to switch their designated gender at birth, I view them as the gender that they are choosing to identify as, and I respect their self-identification. So I understand that, the idea of, I'll say people designated male as birth.
Mhm.
being.
So why don't they? So why don't they just do this? Why don't they just
Make your own league.
separate it?
Make their own
Make it
league.
to
Make a
where
league for their own.
make a trans league.
That seems like the
That's-
logical solution. If nobody, like, if they're gonna be excluded, but then
Yeah.
where is it?
But Joe
Hey, but
says
think
it's another
about
form of
this.
segregation. That's what
Think about this.
Joe. Yeah.
Think
I mean-
about this. If they make a own league of their own, if they make a league on their own, wouldn't you think they get more publicity of them having their own league because they have their own
Well, good.
in the
Let
league
I
and
mean,
it's
let
just
them. If they're working to be athletes just like anybody else, then good. They should get to be athletes.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if they're not going to be respected in, like if they're not going to be welcomed with the men or the women, then fine, make a league of your own.
Okay. It ain't fair. It's not fair for a woman to bust her ass.
So what part? Let me ask you
No.
this, D. What part of it isn't fair?
Okay, it's not fair for a woman to bust her ass her whole lifetime
Yeah.
and then finally get to where she get to, and she get beat by a man she get beat by a fucking
Transgender woman.
a transgender woman, and she's dominant. Like she's straight stop dominant and everything, and she get beat by somebody that used to be a man. That's not fair.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you want to chime in, Alex, but I guess I'll give my perspective as a woman because, like, if we take the transgender issue out of the equation, like Alex said, to be fair, it was an issue of like, do we include women in men's sports, or do we have them doing their own thing? And it's like, yeah, sure, we can do our own thing and we can fight against people that are like deemed on our level, but at the end of the day, if somebody decides that they want to see if they can compete against somebody who might be stronger than them, who's to stop them? Like if let's say I'm a female swimmer and I'm the best of the best among women. Maybe I want to see if I can beat a biological man or a transgender woman just to test my own capabilities. Why not? Why can't I do that?
So what would you do? What would you do if you was in the store one day and you see a dude just randomly punch a woman? And you right there, you a woman as it is right there, and you see a random dude punch a woman, what would you do?
I would interfere with that, regardless
of
genders involved.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's a moral issue. That has nothing to do with that. That's something that all people are wired to either fight or flight.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with gender.
No, but that's the same thing. Like, so if a dude punched a woman, you would do that. But then if she had a ponytail and it used to be a man, same thing.
Well, anybody who's like putting hands on if you're throwing I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
I'm equal opportunity with these hands. Like
now, let's.
If I need to just step in and defend somebody, I'll do that.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what
now,
the circumstances.
Before we continue, we're gonna take a nice little 1 minute break because I have to find my phone to send the link to DMAC. Sorry, the BMAC. So we'll be right back in 1 minute. Joe,
just let y'all know. I still love you all off this conversation too.
I know. Joe, elaborate more on what would you? Okay. Here's a question for you while I look for my phone. If there's not enough trans people to make a trans league, what would be the second option that you would do to rectify or try to help the situation?
There's
a minute.
There's more than enough trans people to make their own league.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That's not a question of any aspect. There's way a lot of those transgender people to make a league. I can't see what that all says.
There we go. So go on, Cardella.
No, I mean, my question is to D.W.F,
right,
who was talking about the publicity aspect.
Sir, Buddha.
Sir Buddha, yeah.
And I agree with what he said. He said that men are bigger, stronger, faster, and more superior when it comes to like genetics. Over women. So putting a transgender man into a female's league automatically gives them an unfair advantage.
Wait, go. Because there is one factor that we're not talking about, and that is hormones. like I know I already talked about hormones, but in the
Mhm.
sense that
Right.
we keep talking about biological men and making the comparison to trans women,
Right.
but if a woman is what okay, if a woman is like well into her transition, we can assume that she's taking like hormones that would be lessening her testosterone. Like she wouldn't have the features of a biological man anymore, and that gets higher like the longer that they've been transitioned and like taking estrogen and things like that. So
True,
if
but
the
it's
comparison
been
of a trans
proven.
woman who has just recently transitioned in adulthood to somebody who transitioned way younger, like they're not on the same level of testosterone anymore and strength,
But it's been proven that even men that have been on gender switching like hormones and drugs and stuff like that still have high testosterone ratings years and years after they've done all these treatments. Their testosterone ratings are still through the roof.
True.
But
And
I'm
but
gonna
here's
say it like this:
go on,
if you
D-Lo.
ain't,
That's yours.
if you not, I'm gonna say at least 80%. Like if you're not Clarissa Shields, you not beat no man. Clarissa Shields, like she a beast.
Now, okay. Now for
That's why I
Joe,
grew
and
up in Flint.
yeah, go on.
She had to fight men. She grew up in Flint.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What? You gotta set the water in there for that.
Y'all bullies out there. That's why.
Oh man, shut the fuck.
Beating up
we got
on women and shit.
You an
got
asshole, bro. Why you
on
talking like
this.
that?
Oh my god, that was
You
actually
can't talk about my champ like that.
Well, speaking of the champ, Mr. B-Mac is here. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening?
I'll say this. This is a very controversial topic for this exact reason right here. We're never going to come to any type of agreement or resolve. And at the end of the day, as an openly gay male, I too felt the same way about trans women competing in women's sports. It shouldn't be allowed because at the end of the day, they were born biologically male, and men are stronger than women, no matter whether they transition or not. Men are stronger than women, and it's a dangerous game you're playing when they're allowed to use the bathroom.
Right.
And one day, one decides, well, I want to be a creep today. Let me go out and play some punani, and then they attack a woman in the bathroom. That's a dangerous slope you're taking when you take that approach. So I too had a problem with them being able to use the bathroom. And I'm a part of the community.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against trans women.
No.
But
okay. Question.
Sorry,
does anyone want to chime in before I respond?
Please.
Go ahead.
Now, B-Mac.
What up?
B-Mac. As a homosexual man, I've heard in the homosexual community that they are upset by transgender men and women because they feel like they've worked all this time to be accepted as homosexuals in the community, and they feel like the transgender community is just pushing it on everybody. They're not earning people's respect.
That's a real issue. That's a real issue. Yes, that's a real issue.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. That's a real issue. It's a lot of it's a real issue like within the community about what you just said. Yeah.
Yes. Now we talk about that.
Yeah.
We talk about that. Go on.
Well, yeah, because I would like to, and obviously this is a sensitive issue and everything, but everyone in the LGBT community ultimately is just,
Let it go. Go on.
I said we're all adults.
I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just if I say anything to like offend somebody, but obviously, like everybody in the LGBT community is just trying to exist and in a way that's comfortable and authentic to them. So,
but you do have some who do try to force it on other people. You do have some that do try to force like a gender, the whole having drag queens coming in to read the kindergarten. See, that's too much.
They did over here too as well. There was a weird thing that happened last year.
I heard they're not happy about the whole situation either.
Drag queens?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. They're not happy about the situation either.
And
they're not happy about the fact that they feel like our community is getting exploited by the white sector of the LGBT community. Because let's just be clear, it's the white LGBT sector that's pushing this
transgender.
Yes, on everybody else. because you don't
I
see the
know. I
black
don't know.
ones
I
doing
know
it.
it's kind of.
You don't see the
It's kind of.
Latinos doing it. You don't see the Mexican was doing it. It's the
No.
white sector that's pushing the agenda, and that's where the tension is coming in because we just want to be left the fuck alone. At the end
Okay.
of the day,
Yeah.
we minding our business over here.
Well,
One
as
second.
a white man,
Cardella.
I apologize.
All right, Joe, hold up a second. Everybody, give a second. Cardella, go.
Okay. I mean, the first thing I had wanted to address was this whole fear of like trans people in bathrooms, because before, if it's not applying to trans people, it would be applying to gay people, and that's what I was trying to get at. In that the same
Well, no, not
harmful,
necessarily because
well, the
like
same harmful
we never,
stereotypes that are applied to trans people were at some point applied to gay people, and like religious
well,
people have their own
well,
like stereotypes and words that they use to try and villainize gay people.
Yep.
So
well, the
if
only
my
stereotype that
question
we
is,
get,
why is it so easy for us to stereotype and create this image of like violent or predatory trans people when that's not most often the case?
True.
I
well,
think that opinion
basically,
comes out of
like,
fear.
Yeah.
well,
Go on, be back.
the only stereotype that the gay community that I'm a part of has gotten is that, oh, all gays are pedophiles. Well, that's not true because I'm not a pedophile. I've never had dreams of being a
Yeah.
pedophile, and I
Exactly.
never
You
will
know
be a
it's not
pedophile.
true. I know it's not
So,
true. But a lot of
you
people
are
have
right.
that thought.
There,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're all right. Like there is that same stigma, but it's different when you have it exploited in the media. It's one thing to do it behind closed doors, but
And I
when you
agree
want
with that. I
everything to
agree with the
be,
expectation.
but
Definitely.
when you want everything to be like inclusive, oh, you know, because it's bad enough that you turn on TV and you got two women kissing, you got two men kissing,
Yeah.
But
but
the thing
it's
is, if
even
you
worse.
want
But
it,
wait.
yeah, sorry.
It's
Hold
even
on.
worse when they're starting to put it in the curriculums in school that
Yeah.
gives your little girl or boy the option of telling their mom, I want to be a boy next week. Can I get a surgery? But if you say no, they can lock you up for like abuse for
Well,
setting your
see
child
that
no.
Not no
That's a
more.
that
problem.
gets into
That's a
One
problem.
yeah.
at a time. Everyone get one at a time. Be my finish your statement, then Cardella go,
Damn
then
right, that's a
Joe.
problem. So, like I was telling Krishan last night, I don't want my 6-year-old niece or my 8-year-old nephew learning about transgenders in kindergarten and first grade. That's too much.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I can understand. Sorry, wait.
Go ahead.
I wanted to let you
Go on,
finish.
go,
Um,
go.
and I can understand. That, but at the same time, like going back to the whole,
And that's where the blowback comes because that's when it gets the general, you know, it's like the generalization going on is that, well, all
yeah.
transgenders are bad, but they're not. But the fact is, would you want your little boy going to school with a transgender and they walk into the bathroom and they get assaulted?
Now,
Would you
only
want your
Cardella's
daughter?
finishing.
Whoa,
Yeah.
would you want your daughter going into the locker room to change for gym class and she gets attacked by like a transgender?
I think that in an ideal world, I wouldn't carry that fear of a trans
But you
person
have to
being
though,
inherent.
because at the end of the day, they're still biologically male,
Okay.
and at any
Now,
moment,
And I mean, in general, about if we're talking about LGBT representation for children, like I understand that people feel like it's a slippery slope, but ultimately, I don't think it's harmful for children to see things represented to them at an early age in a safe way, so
how do
that
you know what
people
you are at
understand.
6 or 7 though? Like, see, that's the problem. Like,
You don't have to, but I think it is healthy for children to have an understanding of the way the world works, and that there are people that are
there's
different from them.
understanding, and there's mommy. Can I wear a dress this week? And I'm a little boy. That's a whole different conversation.
okay. Now I want to jump in on this.
Go ahead.
I actually want to jump in on this
Because I have more thoughts on
No,
children
and Joe, you're jumping right after me because of this. Because
sorry, Joe. I know you're trying to get a word in.
No,
I'm
no.
the one taking over.
it's
You're
part of
good.
it, and I'm
No,
sorry.
it's all
Okay.
good. It's all good.
I know. Now, this is my understanding of the history of
See, this is the
like.
type of dialogue I like. Healthy
Yeah.
dialogue.
Okay, now let's talk a little history lesson because I'm 42 years old and I grew up around the 80s and 90s, mostly 90s to 2000s. What BMAC is saying about all this things about transgenderism is the same rhetoric, the same fear that people had in the 90s with gay people. Same exact thing. because I remember when it was taboo for a gay guy to be on the Real World. I automatically grew up understanding that if you had HIV and AIDS, it was an act of God against gay people, and that was the
And
thing
that's
into
still
the
that
late
same.
90s.
That's still
And
that
that was
same.
fucked up. Okay,
Mhm.
now let's go back to the 80s when it was the 80s that, oh, well, you're hanging out with a black girl. There's a movie called Jungle Fever to exploit the fact that white guys are with black girls. Like,
And
it
they
was
made a movie
always
about it.
something.
Ooh,
Okay, these are
Alex, you.
historical facts. Now let's go
Mhm.
back to the 60s. Let's go, like, if you were no, let's go back to the 50s. You had to be hiding in speakeasies just
Yeah.
because you were gay. You had to marry women and be fake husbands all your life and wait for the wife to die in order
And
to
be
be like,
miserable.
okay, I'm gay.
We're
And
not
that's
gonna
the
forget about how Emmett Till got treated though. We're not gonna forget about that. He didn't even whistle at a white woman, and the white woman said he whistled at me, and look how they did him.
Okay, see,
So
now we're
that shows
talking
you
about
how
racism.
everything
Though.
went. That shows you
Okay,
how.
see,
Hold
now
on,
we're going into racism, which is a whole nother can of
No,
worms,
no,
which
no,
we
no.
can't go
I'm
yeah,
into
saying
now.
like
I was
no.
gonna chime in. I was gonna chime in
Yeah.
with an anecdote here because
But Alex
again,
ain't
going
wrong
back
though.
to yeah.
I know.
Alex ain't
No,
wrong
thank
though.
you
No.
for sharing the perspective of
No.
the 90s because
Yes.
that goes back to what I was talking
Especially
about.
about the
But
gays in the 90s, because if you
Yeah.
caught HIV, you automatically had to be gay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if the people knew that you were gay, in the same way where B-Max like, oh, I don't want no transgender in my bathroom. I don't want no gay man in my bathroom because he's gonna do something to me or look at my penis. That was the way it was in the 90s in media and comedy. If you were gay, you were just laughed at or automatically a disease carrier. Law and Order basically did a fucking episode where a gay killer was killing people with super AIDS. Going to gay clubs and killing people. This was actually a fucking episode.
Yep,
And that's
it
what
was.
the rhetoric is
okay,
showing us.
so what
Like,
thank you.
go.
I just want to finish out my point here in talking about like ignorance in children is taught. It's not, something you're born with. So if children are grow up, let me just finish it out. If children grow up seeing the variety of, like, it's okay. Like if you feel like you want to, first of all, if a little boy wants to wear a dress, what's the problem with wearing a dress? But to go back to it, like ignorance is something that is taught in children. And for me, like the one of the few instances of racism I've had an experience in my life was a little girl in kindergarten who told me that my brown knuckles were dirty. That is one of the few instances of racism I've had in my life, and it happened at like 5 or 6 years old, and it was just purely like ignorance,
But can I say something? Can I say something about that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Of course,
At that age, we know no better. Like it's different when we get older. Like 5 or 6, we don't know better. Like we still learning.
Yeah,
let's be
But then,
clear.
like I said, it's different when we get like in our teens or older and everything. We say that.
Yeah, but I know
Like
for me, like
Joe, you remember when we was in Louisiana and a white man called me a boy and I was trying to snatch him out the window. Just the tone off the way he said that.
That was that big fat guy.
Yeah. And he called me a boy just off the way, the tone he said it and how he said it was racist. I was trying to, he was like 500 pounds. I was trying to snatch him out the window.
And people still don't understand that connotation. People still don't understand that connotation. Why that's the problem.
Yeah.
You could tell the way he grew up was one of those old Southern plantation type.
People still don't understand why that's offensive in this generation. Like,
but
you
what
just
I was
can't
going to
say boy.
about transgenders and stuff and with kids is the fact that kids already have enough on their plate growing up. Like they already have enough to deal with growing up between learning, learning things and developing and adding more confusion to their lives is not something that I don't think that they should have to have. I feel like they should be a little more adults when they can make their own decisions when they're an adult.
I can't believe that too, like around teenagers.
But can I actually, I kind of, and I understand you have kids of your own, probably, Joe, and I only have nephews.
Yeah, I do.
So I guess, my perspective is a little bit different. But for me, I feel like the confusion you're referring to is self-expression. And I feel like that's something that is through the process of going to school is stripped of us. So I feel like, why can't, who says that we can't have both? Like, why can't we focus on our education and be authentically ourselves? Because you see the consequences of what happens when kids aren't allowed to be themselves.
But let's be honest, though. We shouldn't have 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds coming home telling their mommy
that they want
Mommy's
operations.
like, I want to be a boy.
Yeah.
Mommy like, I want to be transgender. Like
maybe so, but again,
like the situation that I was talking about last night on Krayshawn with the Dwayne Wade situation, how they like allowed that 14-year-old to transform like into like a transgender right before he was even ready. I stand by what I said last night.
Yeah.
Somebody should have called DSS on them. He should have been removed from that house, and Gabrielle and Dwayne Wade should have been locked up and sent to jail for allowing that. Because I say that because let me finish. Because when he becomes of age, that's gonna fuck him up because he can't go back to who he used to be if he changes his mind.
I gotta and let Joe go, and then I'm gonna say my thoughts on this.
Well, BMAC, come inauguration day, that's going to be a thing of the past because they're not going to eat. The president's not going to allow that to happen in the United States. He already said that is being taken out of school context.
Good.
It is not going to be allowed if it is talked about in school. You'll be put in jail. You'll be fined. You'll lose your job. Like all this surgery stuff.
Good. Because at the end of the day,
unless it's something that has to be done.
Yeah.
Kids go to school to learn,
and then it doesn't.
Like advance. They don't go to school to learn about which gender they want to be the next day. That should not be allowed. And I'm a gay man saying that. I agree with that.
I like that. I'm gonna give a shout out to Sir. I'm gonna give a shout out to Sir Butter. This is actually a good comment. That's why I'm pro-human. Intolerance anywhere is intolerance everywhere. We all stand together, which is true. Intolerance is the same thing as
but you remember when we was in school, we did the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't even do that no more. But they're trying to bring that shit back.
I wouldn't.
That's okay. That's like a love of state thing, like a love of
No,
that's an indoctrination.
It is
thing.
a love of your country, though, because like in Puerto Rico we do the same fucking thing.
It's God
I know the song by heart.
It's God and country.
Yeah,
God and country.
Over here is God and sea. And the trees and like that song. I know that song by heart. I sing that proud as fuck.
If you notice,
go on.
But Alex, if you notice,
they don't even let you say prayer in school no more.
We started having
state should be separate. That should always be.
We started having all these shootings, all these school shootings, and all these school problems, and all these school murders and all that stuff when they started taking God out of school.
Now, to counter that, before anyone else talks, religion and state has been separate here, mostly 70%. And there are no school shootings. There are no murders over here. And we have the same technology, same language, same literature, same TVs, same everything. The process goes that if you give a lot of people a lot of guns and no oversight on them, the eventuality of someone doing a school shootings outweigh everything else. I will say that because I knew someone was going to bring up the whole school shooting things here, but America has school shootings. Puerto Rico, we have never, up until 2025, have had a fucking school shooting.
We didn't have that shit.
3.7 million people in this island.
We didn't have that shit growing up. We didn't have that shit growing up until now. When me and Joe was going to school, we didn't have it.
School.
It wasn't none of that. Like you never thought of that.
Like we had rough schools and stuff, but school shootings like now, the way they happen nowadays, never happened in our day.
No, it's never. True. Like it started with.
We went to school to fight. Yeah, we went to school to fight. We never went to shoot.
Yes. No, I mean it probably started like around the 80s and 90s is when it kind of
No, it really.
No, this is 2000.
Before that, it wasn't.
This is like 2010s. 2020s. This ain't never happened before that.
Everyone that wants to see,
where I'm from,
yeah.
Yes, where I'm from Flint. I'm like one of the worst. It's from one of the worst. Like I'm like an hour away from Detroit,
Yeah.
and people know how Detroit is.
Yeah.
Well, you were from the
Now,
It ain't
Bronx.
start happening
I lived in
until
Brooklyn.
yes,
I was in the Bronx as well, Florida as well.
yes.
No.
It ain't start happening until like 10, 15 years ago. None of
And
that when I
all,
was going to school. None of that was happening. Wasn't
and all
nobody
the
bring no
context,
gun to school.
yeah, the context together was that all of them had mental issue problems that could have been
Yeah.
avoided
Yeah.
by therapy or by just something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
all those connected. But to Kadala go, because we got to go to the next topic. We're
Well,
doing this for an hour.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I don't know what the next topic
I
Hey,
know
is.
what it is.
look,
But all right, the
this
thing
what
I
make
wanted
it.
to
This
say,
what make it sad. People
Yeah.
quit throwing hands and they want to shoot people. They don't know how to fight, so they shoot people. That's what's going on now.
I miss fighting, yeah.
They can't,
it's not,
can't
it's
take an
not
ass
wrong
whooping.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
people be
I miss
trigger
old school
happy.
fighting where you used to bite ears off. That's the old way. They left you alone. That motherfucker ain't got no ear no more, but he left you alone for the rest of your life.
No.
See that much?
The one thing I wanted to say that I was trying to get in the conversation
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
like if you ever had a conversation with a kid, like they say some wild shit sometimes. So if going back
All
to the
the
whole like,
time.
oh, what if my kid comes home and is like, oh, I want to have a surgery? Like, oh, I heard about it in school that you can be a different gender if you want to, and I want to be a different gender. Like, obviously, any rational person can, like, you know, you can use critical thinking and have conversations about it and
hmm
deduce, okay, if this is what they're learning about in school, it's understandable they're going to have questions and they're going to be curious about it because kids
But
are
why are
curious
they
about
learning it though? Why should they have to learn that young is the
Mhm.
question.
because I don't think it's harmful to like be exposed to it. And I mean, the piece that you guys are missing is that for kid, like you're thinking of the stories where they think it's going to be a mistake, but what about the ones that it's not a mistake and they're not able to transition until later in life? Like if you genuinely
They
feel
shouldn't
like
be
you
allowed
don't,
to transition like until they are of legal age and can pay for the surgery
but
themselves,
but
and
that's the
then
piece
deal with
that
the
I'm
repercussions.
but that's the piece that
But
I'm
they should
getting
be
at
worried
here.
about toys. They should be
No,
worried about toys that
there
age.
is an important
Hold
element that I'm
on,
getting
hold on.
at here.
Yeah.
If somebody genuinely wants to transition, the earlier they're able to do so, the better. And if you can find that online, like
Not while they're a
people,
child. Absolutely not. Like that's no, that's
but
endangering. Like
if they don't feel comfortable in the body that they're in, that's the best time to make that transition rather than doing it later in life. Because number one, people spend their whole lives having mental health issues and feeling uncomfortable in the body they're in, and then when they are able to make that change, it's a lot harder on your body. And then that's where you have, you know, transgender women that are always going to have a masculine figure or a deep voice to some extent because they grew into their male body. And if they had been able to grow into their female body, they might have had a different experience. But even so, that doesn't, like, whenever a
I don't
trans woman
believe in a child
transitions,
being able to
So if
transition
your kid want to
no,
drink,
at
would you
that
let
age.
them drink?
Yeah.
If your kid
You
want
know
to
what?
drink, would you
Wait,
let them drink? I'm just
my
saying.
kid? My kid?
No, I'm saying
More?
like
no, but I mean,
Yeah.
the point is that,
no,
like,
but that's what I'm saying. When I
there's
was
a
little,
log.
hold on. When I was
Sorry.
little, I wasn't allowed to have choices when I was a kid. Like we
No.
go to restaurants, you get a kid meal. You're not getting an adult meal. When I was a kid, you doing this kid thing. You're not doing this kid stuff. Until I got an adult, that's when I was able to make my own decisions. As a kid, you don't have no right to have decisions.
You don't
You
get the
learn
right to
it.
say
You should
You
no
learn it
unpack
from
while
while
that.
you
you're
a
born
kid.
alone.
That's for another episode. We're not doing
But
that for
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm moving
another
on. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, there's a logical process to that. If your kid comes home and they say, oh, I want to like try on different clothes, or I want to paint my nails, or I want to try out makeup, or you have a boy and he wants to play with Barbies, like these are all things that kids can be naturally curious about and explore. That doesn't mean they're going to go get a surgery the next week. Like there's a logical process to these things.
I was called gay by watching it at Dragon Ball Z at my age. And now it's super freaking badass. You're a super big ass man. But everything that you watch one way. I know.
Whoever called you that, and whoever called you that, they probably fucking in prison getting a Bukkake gang on them. Cause Dragon Ball Z was the fucking shit, bro.
I know, but in the 90s, you like anime, you a gay man. But the point I'm saying is this. even here where I live in my fucking town, I know people who are gay, but are married with kids and they can't openly say it because they are scared
And they're
of what the
probably
family
miserable as hell.
says.
And that's
And they
the
probably
thing, though, bro.
miserable as
We
hell.
gotta
You can
live
see
the
it.
secret. That's the
I
thing.
know.
We gotta live the secret. You can't.
Yeah. But the point is
I'm
this:
too real to
if people,
myself.
yeah,
We
but
too
if you
real
look,
to ourselves, bro.
true, but the point I'm saying is this: if people now in 2025 are scared to even come out and be who they truly are, and in where I live in Puerto Rico,
That mean they got doubt
imagine what
about
is in
themselves.
America. It's freaking crazy. But I will say this, Jaida Parker, thank you for letting us have this wonderful discussion about transgender and the knowledge from it. Honestly, thank you for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, you
Um,
fucked around and find out, Jaida Parker. Your ass is gonna be watched for the next week or two, so that's on your ass. And I will say that the next thing I'm gonna talk about.
What's next?
Next thing is still Jaida Parker,
Yeah.
and this is gonna be probably short because I'm gonna be respectful. Jaida Parker, your hands.
I eat that like
Alright.
sushi, bro. I eat
Now-
that like no. I eat that like sushi. You gotta go ahead and
Now-
ding me, bro. Come on.
She's
Come
trying to
on,
reach.
that ding.
Hold on. No. You don't get the daddy chill, mister. You get this one.
This is the worst.
Jaida was reaching for that yeet stick.
Hey,
Okay,
but hold on.
now-
Let me say this.
Okay.
Let me say this.
Before we start, hold on, no, hold on, D-War, we gotta put this out first. Before we start, what we say are alleged and supposed things. We are just talking about a video and the prospect of what might happen or might not happen. We do not have the knowledge or the wherewithal to see what really has happened. I want to put that out there.
Does it really matter though?
Yes, it does.
Does it really matter though? I mean,
Drake right now, Drake is fucking suing motherfuckers by reacting to songs. I don't want
Hey,
any
Drake a
wrestlers or anybody
pedophile,
else
though.
coming after our asses. Fuck no.
Drake a pedophile, so
And-
you can't
and
put
he's
him in
being
that same category.
and he's being countersued by 35 people. I already know.
I know. That's why I don't got the money to
You can't
counter.
put Jay Uso and Drake in the same category.
Drake a bitch.
Bailey. Now let's talk about this. Supposedly and allegedly, Jaida Parker. Well, she was. This is not allegedly. Jaida Parker and Jey Uso and a couple other people were in a club. This was the night. Jey Uso went to NXT, same pants and everything else. And as you saw in the video, Jaida Parker, or a person that had the same exact clothes like Jaida Parker, was rubbing up on that leg like a chicken thigh on supposedly the leg of Jey Uso. This was posted from Indy Hartwell, by the way. So, and she's been fired
Andy
for a
Hartwell
while.
shot the video.
Yeah. Now, Joe, we'll go one by one on this. I will. This is probably gonna be a short subject. What are your thoughts on this? And let it go.
I mean, I don't see any issue with it. I haven't heard about Jey Uso and his wife. I don't know if they're separated or whatever.
Ain't he the one that's with Naomi?
No,
Or was that the other brother?
Jimmy's with Naomi.
Okay. All right.
But it's like this is their personal business. This has nothing to do with wrestling, technically. And like they're just they're cutting loose and having some fun. Let them have fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
I'm not condoning cheating,
No.
but we don't know what his marital status is. They could be separated. They could be,
I actually have a quote. Jey Uso clears the air on him having a fling with Jaida Parker despite being married. Seeing the viral video of him with Jaida at a party accidentally shared by Indy Hartwell. Not accidentally, you bitch.
Girl, you
Jay
ain't in
wrote-
the club and sharing videos
I know.
accidentally. She meant to share that. Girl, Indeed.
Yep. Jay wrote, and I quote, "Hey man, y'all funny. Jay is a gentleman. He could never do this in real life." That's from Wrestling Threads. Which in reality he just said, "Hey man, y'all funny."
Yeah.
So not saying it was wrong, not saying it was true, just saying, "Hey man, y'all
not
funny."
saying he didn't do it either.
Son of a bitch.
Joe, I'm asking Joe. Me and Joe, we went to a lot of wrestling parties, and we partied with a lot of fucking wrestlers.
Yeah.
Joe,
Mhm.
what kind of crazy shit have we seen?
Oh man, people hook up all the time.
Yeah.
People
So-
hook up all the time.
Now,
Yo, tell him.
I saw a married couple in the same room hook up with different people.
that's what I'm gonna say. Let's go to B-Mac. B-Mac, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? And please tell us just tell us your thoughts on this. Let's go.
I'm not shocked if it's true because at the end of the day, Jimmy looked like the type.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like the type that'll do some shit like that just because. Now, Jaida, baby, you can do better than that. I know this. Everybody got this this fantasy with the bloodline, but she can do better.
Yeah.
Like date up, not down. That's fucking down, not up.
Yeah. All right.
If it's true, allegedly, because I mean,
Allegedly.
That might be. That might be next. That might be next world champion too. By the way.
Whew. What, the silencer? Is that what she's gonna do?
So. P.U.W.F might be the next world champion.
I don't think she needs this type of. I don't think she needs this type of controversy around her own career though, and she's just not getting started out. Because baby, you just not getting established. You just not getting on TV.
No.
We didn't know who you was 2 years ago.
Yep.
She don't need this type of scandal this early on, because
I think it's somebody hating.
Because one wrong move, and you can get her real quick. Because that family bloodline ain't his cousin on the board. Girl, you better move carefully.
All you gotta do is say, I wasn't cool with that. When the video come on, you gotta just say, I wasn't cool with that, and she get dropped down.
And
I deny that shit. Like, no, that ain't what that was. Like, that ain't what y'all saw. Like, we was just like having conversation, but that ain't what that was. I deny that shit. No, that ain't what that
but
was.
here's the point that Jay fucked up for Indy, not for Indy, for Jaida right now, because he should have said that, hey, it was just me in the club, we were chilling out, having fun, nothing happened. By saying one sentence and only one sentence only,
and Indy Hartwell, she messy as hell for posting that anyway. Because like, if you supposed to be her homegirl, why would you get your girl in a situation that you know go blow up in her face?
Yeah.
If shit go left, because it ain't gonna blow up in his face. Because he can get a pass, but you, baby, you getting crucified.
Somebody should put hands on her.
My God.
That's being messy.
Go.
So I say this. I hope it ain't true for her sake, her career sake. I hope it ain't true. And Indy, I stop fucking with her, Jaida, if I were you, because that ain't your friend. That's a bitch that'll get you caught up real quick.
Hey, y'all remember? Y'all remember in the NBA, D'Angelo Russell and Swaggy P. When Swaggy P had A.G. value, and D'Angelo Russell recorded that shit, and they broke up.
Yeah. Remember fucking Jeff Hardy and Lita and Edge?
Yeah.
That's a fucking real thing that happened. Remember fucking
And they made a storyline about it.
Boston? That was the thing that happened. I mean, shit, man.
Like, people like that is messy as fuck. India Cartwheel is messy as fuck.
She is. She was. Because she didn't do that on accident. Girl,
That wasn't no fun shit, bro.
You in a club full of people with music playing, drinks flowing.
And you people out of a fucking boot. Like, this is supposed to be private.
That part, I'm like,
that's disgusting. God damn.
Joe, no. Joe, you know, the wrestlers go to party, bro. They party, and it's nothing recorded. We've been to a lot of wrestling parties where nothing was recorded, and a lot of shit happened.
Now,
am I right or wrong?
You're right. You have confirmed.
Joe?
Now, I want to say this.
Hello, you're good.
Okay. Now, Cardella, what's your thoughts?
Yes. My thoughts, honestly, I don't even want to be talking about it. Like, I guess it's just rumor and gossip. I mean, if it is true, like, I don't know whether or not it is true. It just was like it came out. The timing of when it came out is like adding on to.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna ask you this question, since you don't since you're like the only female on the panel. How would you feel if one of your homegirls y'all was in the club and she posted a moment like that of you without you knowing, then tried to call it an accident just to get you caught up in some bullshit that didn't even need to happen in the first place. Like, would you still fuck with her after that?
Right.
Man, Alex watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That definitely, if it was a friend that posted it, that's definitely snaky. Especially if they posted it right after
The same day as this whole fucking transfer.
Yeah, so, like that was very like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to like do this. But
And that's what happened. Yeah.
So would you
That's
still
why
be
I
friends with
kinda-
her?
Probably not. Just
No.
for, you know,
Okay.
okay. Shit. But like, yeah, like at the end of the day, if whether or not she's doing something with him is their business, and we can speculate.
Yeah, that's
on
their
it.
business. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Jaida, baby, your career, well, his career survived because, you know what I'm saying, he a fucking bloodline member, so he good.
She's the one. I agree. She's
But
the one who
you,
would get crucified.
she ain't got that same luxury.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's why it's not fair. And it's like you know,
And
I'm not calling.
and
I'm not calling the
remember-
woman a saint.
And remember this, India Hartwell got released. And she did that shit. That sounds like a hater move to me. Why would you record that shit like
Seems
that?
like it.
Like to me,
Fuck you on the way out. Yeah.
yeah. Like to me,
Or-
like when me and
or
Joe
maybe-
went to hang out, me and Joe, we partied with like celebrity wrestlers. Whatever
ahead,
happened, it happened there.
But-
That shit wasn't
But
recorded.
maybe Indy Hartwell wanted the yeet stick, and Jaida was getting it, so she felt like she should do some shady shit.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Joe is
Yeah. Hey, you got it, buddy. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, I'm exempt. I'm exempt from.
This is
you
the
get-
worst.
I'm gonna get this one. You will always get this one.
You always go get it. Yeah. Hey, hater
I'm
move
just
though.
saying. Am I wrong?
No.
You're not. What I'm
Jealousy
saying
is
about this-
a
What India Hartwell
jealousy.
did was a hater ass move. That
But
shit was
again-
like some hating that shit. I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, like that shit was hating, bro. Like whatever y'all do partying, it should have been by itself. Like
What she should have done was she should have just tried to get in on the three-way and been happy with that.
What you should have done is not be a dumbass and think there's no cameras around. Like you're a fucking C-level celebrity in the club with other wrestlers. Someone's gonna record that shit. Stay the fuck away in dark corners. And guess what? You wore the same shit where allegedly that you were rubbing on Jay's allegedly. I have to say allegedly a lot. Pants. It was
That's why I'm
bad.
like, it's just picking at breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so the only connection you have is the fact that it looks like Xristo and she has the same leggings on. Okay,
Before we go, I want to say
I
that.
can't even see the fucking
Yes,
leggings.
before we go, thank you, D-Walk, for this. Jaida will be fine, though. Might get some heat. He isn't bad in the business. Now, this could be used as a storyline in the business, where in NXT, she's macking on all the guys that are with somebody or people that are married. That's just storyline. You take something in real life and you put it into wrestling, which brings more people into wrestling to watch you.
Yeah, but then at whose
Yeah.
expense?
The wrestler.
Exactly.
You put a storyline where Mr. one of the Jeff Hardy, one of the Hardys is drunk in real life, and then you put him in a storyline where he's trying to be sober and he's around things. Same thing happened to CM Punk. CM Punk, who the person who's a straight edge, they put him in a storyline where Chris Jericho kept trying to get him drunk. And the storyline, if he was getting drunk at all, he would lose the match.
Jake the Snake did the same thing with Jake the Snake too.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, Jaida will be all right.
Thank you. So I think for her, if she can spin this and make it like she's like a succubus, like we talked about, check it out, NXT Time with D-Walk on Wednesdays, 9:30. Then it works out. It works out. Right now, the second you come out on TV, Jaida, you're gonna get two things. One, booed. Two, chanted that you're Jay's side chick. Or now, because since Sasha Banks back in the day called Sasha's Ratchet, now they're gonna call it Jaida Ratchet.
yeah.
That's a chant that you don't want to have in 2025 right now.
So
Put her with
Jada
Nikita
Parker,
Lyons and Put them with the Keto Lions. Have them be like the succubuses.
Hey,
I don't know. She already had the whole GTA girls thing
Yeah,
going
but
on.
now she's gonna be a GTA girl. That's it.
hey, so Jada Parker punch the shit out of any cartwheel when you see her.
Yeah, but legally arranged where there's no court scenes at all. Once you're at that, ladies and gentlemen, that was the second topic. We're going to the last one of the night because we've already passed an hour and a half. The Lord of Jesus. All right,
Okay.
here we go.
Yes, sir.
The topic I always been wanting to talk about. Oh my, yes.
Okay.
See the topic, Phoenix?
Yes.
This is the last topic. Last topic of the night. So let's talk about this. Kurt Angle a week ago talked about one of his greatest matches he ever had with Chris Benoit and blah, blah, blah. You insert whatever the hell you want. I know. I'm sorry. This is a wrestling thing, so this will be either really deep or really quick. Now, yes. Now, the point I want to say is this. Since he said that, no one has said anything. No one has said anything like controversial to him. No one has canceled him. No one's done any of that shit. So thanks to God.
Hey, you break it up a little bit. I'm going to go to the porcelain. Keep going. I'm going to porcelain.
All right. Okay. Jesus Christ. I'm going to D-Walk because I don't need to hear his poops. Right. There we go. Now,
got to pee because all that damn liquor.
Yeah, that's called alcoholism. I love them. What I want to talk about is that should we, I mean, it doesn't matter. Again, we talked about this in the past episodes about Mr. Benoit, but should it still be okay that wrestlers bring up his matches as references? Joe, go.
Yes. I don't see any reason why any wrestler should be afraid to bring up a fellow performer, no matter what they've done. I know what he did wasn't great and everything, but again, I don't feel like that the whole investigation thing was even done right. But
yeah,
I just feel like you should be able to express yourself and express who your favorite opponent was. That was his favorite opponent. That Chris Benoit was a lot of people's favorite opponent. Kurt Angle is just one of many that have come out and said that.
He was the Kenny Omega of his generation. Like everybody wanted it to wrestle him.
And nobody can deny his abilities in the ring or his promos or anything.
Nope.
Like, I'm not even from that generation, but what I saw him, he was a whole problem out here when he was.
The man was like a wrestling god. Like when he was wrestling in Japan as Pegasus Kid in a mask.
Yep.
And then he came to the States.
Yeah.
Hey,
he was
how far you gotta go? How far you gotta go? Because where I find it weird. I find it weird when you say. I find it weird about it when you gotta take different routes home. When you feel that much threatened, something going on.
Okay.
Come on, bro. Let's be real about it. Like, you gotta feel threatened when you take different routes home in order to be safe. How come you don't? Okay, so something gotta happen where you gotta take different routes home every day. Yeah. And man, it's not no telling. He was in Atlanta. It's not no telling how many routes he had to go to take different ways home.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like we don't talk about this. Like we done talked about the theories, the neighbors, the fucking the people who you associated with, the people who threaten them. We didn't talk through all that, bro. Like
and we will.
Come on, that's not make it serious. Like that's not make this like it's weird. The alcohol bottles in the house. The alcohol bottles that was in the house, that it was no in the system. Him choking himself. Yeah. And there's no way that's possible. He could put himself on the weight bench like that by himself.
Alex,
come on,
how do you feel?
2 hours.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about other wrestlers being allowed to speak about Benoit as one of their favorite competitors?
Me or do you want?
You.
Oh, me? I am okay. Here's the thing, though. It's just I think I'm being biased here because there's other wrestlers like the Dynamite Kid who have matches, but he's a horrible human being for what he's done at the years of his life.
Okay.
Taking up Jimmy the Fly Snuka, he wasn't really a great wrestler, but he was a great showman. And the things he's done to that girl in the 80s were horrible. But with Benoit, it's like this weird. I grew up with him. I grew up with as a child watching him. He was part of the Four Horsemen. Like that's a feat that you don't get in there. Yes, D-Walk.
Okay, so it was nothing bad said about him by wrestlers. But Aaron Hernandez did the same fucking thing. And he was a good player. But then people talk shit about him. But then Chris Benoit, nobody said nothing bad about him. Nobody even know the situation that happened with him. Like I said, when he called Chavo over the phone out of breath, bro, that should have been something about the situation. There's no way you can hang yourself on a weight machine. What was it, like 400 pounds with one arm?
I know, but the point.
Come
the point
on,
that has
let's make it make sense.
I know. The point that has to be said though, D-Walk,
Yeah.
is that even if this would have never happened, if he never would have done that to his wife child, his
Well, who said he
brain
did?
was of it. But if again,
His brain
if
was
allegedly,
a vegetable. Like his brain was a
yeah, he
vegetable
would
by the point he got ready to go.
exactly. Thank you, B-Mac. Like it would have been
But-
a point of like he would
no,
have been
but
gone.
like I
And they
said,
even said that, like the medical reports even said that when they looked at his brain, he had a brain of an 80-year-old.
But dementia, people with dementia don't even act like that. Like I said, it was 3 signs. He was tasting Chavo.
Yeah.
He called Chavo and he was out of breath. After the murder happened, they let the neighbor go in the house. The neighbor had control of the dogs and everything. Come on. Let's make this make sense. We're going to talk about this, bro. Come on.
No, we are going to make an episode. We are going to make an episode about the conspiracy of Chris Benoit. But what we're talking about this episode is based on just talking about should we able to be talking about Benoit in matches. And again,
yes,
I think enough time has passed where yes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. That's what I mean, because honestly, I saw, and shout out to Facebook and shout out to Joe for reminding me this. I showed a clip of Ultimo Dragon versus Rey Mysterio to the Invisible Woman, and she was on. This was a little small clip, and I was telling her it was a good match, like to stay 60 seconds.
Full match. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 96. Just called 1996. I to watch it. But what I'm saying is this: with Benoit in this particular case, no wrestler should be shamed talking about Benoit in a wrestler match, like history standpoint. It should not be shamed on that, because we're just saying matches. We're not saying that in the exact same time he had a match with Kurt Angle, he was thinking about all these bad things. No, he was doing a match. A fireman, a lumberjack, a steel mill worker, even if you have dementia like he had, and the degradation brain that he had, he knows how to do his job. Shout out to my father, who died of alcoholic because of the 80s, but the motherfucker knew how to do his job. Morning to sundown.
So how many wrestlers did he influence and teach?
Everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. So should they be included in the way he had to go through? No. So like I said, the same way Chris Benoit, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But they'll never be it. And that's something that we as hardcore wrestlers have to understand and accept, that Benoit as a wrestler was one of the greats. Always one of the greats, and will always be one of the greatest wrestlers ever. He will always be a four horseman to me. But in the separate times of life, he's going to be just different in the eyes of everybody else. In the eyes of everybody else, he will be seen as a murderer. And we'll talk about the episode sure in the future about Chris Benoit and the conspiracy. But right now, I will say this. For Chris Benoit, anyone talking about him, for anyone talking about Chris Benoit in the matches, do it. There's no shame in that, because honestly, he had great matches. Like it or not, as WWE try to mark him off the history of life, anyone who's a hardcore wrestling fan who was born in the 90s will always remember him, like him or fucking not. I remember La Parka as the same way I remember Benoit, and that's how it is to me. Now,
Okay, hold on. Can I say this?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, imagine if Jimmy Snuka stayed alive, and even though he killed that woman,
yeah,
wouldn't that be worse than he did? Wouldn't that be almost worse than almost Chris Benoit? Because he beat up the woman and then killed her.
No, but there's no levels to that. I'm not. We're not
I'm
gonna
just
like
saying.
level or. I know it is. It's true. True. A crime.
The only reason he got away with it because he died.
Yeah,
he was dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he would have still been alive, would that have been the same thing? Like I said, to me, honestly, that would have been worse than Chris Benoit because I still believe Chris Benoit didn't ever do that.
Yeah, I know.
I think Vince covered that Jimmy Snuka thing up.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, let's go one more thing because I got to go after this, honestly, and let's just make it nice and sexy here.
Man, you ain't got to go nowhere, man. You got time, bro. Quit playing.
It's midnight over here, dude. I love you. It is midnight over here, sir. Okay, I love you. Now,
did Cardall like the Ultimate Dragon and racing?
No, I saw the clip of it. D-Walk. I love you. God damn it. I'm trying. I want to try to find the clip to show it to her. She's gonna love it. I know what it is. I know exactly what date it is, so I can find it a lot more easier.
Show her some of them old. Show her some of the old like cruiserweight matches from WCW, like Chris Jericho versus Rey Mysterio at Bash at the Beach.
Ray and Hoovy. Eddie and Ray. Like it's a lot of like every cruiserweight match in WCW though.
Yeah. Now let's go something. Yeah. Go on, Joe.
What's in the background? It's Netflix Raw.
No, give me a second. Here we go.
Lights down, low, we're in the zone. Talking legends on the microphone. Steel cage stories, breaking bones. P.U.W.F, you feel at home.
Okay, look, hold on. Yeah. Can we answer this question right here real fast before we jump to something new? What do y'all think about this question right here?
Snooker thing happened so long before the business was. That's not a question. It's a statement. It doesn't.
No, I mean, what y'all think about it?
But it doesn't matter. What happened was the Snooker thing happened during his heyday, and when he was popular in the territories, he was one of Vince's top guys. And what I'm trying to say is, I feel like Vince helped cover that up because he didn't want to lose one of his top draws.
Yeah, same thing over here. At the same time. That's what happens. It didn't hit the same because there was no social media, and that was hush hush until like the 2000s. Once people found out about it, so no one knew about it for 20 years, and then it came out, and then people were quiet about it for 20 more years, and then it got popular for like a month, and then it died. But it hits the same because if you were a hardcore fan, you knew what happened, and if you were a casual fan, you just found out. And it's sad to say. And by the way, whose music is that? That actually is Joe Biencio's music. He invented it with the app. I forgot because I'm drunk. And ask him if you get the rights for it. Great music.
Yeah.
Here we go. I wanted to do this every week. I want to do a nice little Raw Netflix review. I'll cut it right here, and we could talk. We could just talk about the matches. We're not going to talk about the segments, nothing like that shit. Now hold up. There were some great debut and a crappy. Anyway, what are your thoughts, Joe, on the Penta versus Chad Gable match? Like, why?
Trash.
Why?
Because that's not a fucking Penta match.
Okay.
That was like fucking trying to think. Trying to be nice. No, it was like Silver King when he came to WWE for one match. It was real bad.
It actually reminded me of like Sami Zayn versus John Cena for the first time.
It was so terrible.
Now wait a minute.
Penta did not even look comfortable. First off, and he botched a lot, which I'm not used to seeing. I'm not used to seeing kind of botch like that.
Yeah,
not like that.
It was weird.
And he wasn't even going at his full potential.
People have to understand the fact that Penta ain't gonna be who he was in
Penta.
Lucha Underground or who he
No.
was in PWG. This is Penta approaching 40 and he's starting to slow down and his body is starting to break down. What you seeing is gonna be not every night, but he ain't gonna be who he was. He ain't gonna be who he was in his prime. And that's
P-Mac,
okay.
you know as
go on.
well as I do, WWE is known for taking luchadors and slowing them down because they don't want them to move.
Oh, absolutely. And that's gonna happen to Ray Phoenix when he go over there too. They gonna slow him all the way the fuck down.
Ultimo Dragon lost his job with the WWE because he didn't know how to slow down.
Yeah.
And I agree with you.
Classic.
Like he looked sloppy versus Chad Gable. He didn't look comfortable at all.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck?
No. And that whole press conference thing, like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, the after. Okay, let's talk about that. First off, I want to like give praise to two things. One, Chad Gable did sell that Mexican destroyer. That was beautiful. I will give you that. Penta did the 3-up, 3-down driver, which they call the Penta driver. I was kind of pissed at that because I'm like, just call it 3-up, 3-down. Doesn't really matter. And also his heartfelt speech to his kids, to people out there. It was, and I did like that. If you replayed the episode again, Netflix subtitled what he said in Spanish and English and subtitles. So you just have to go back and watch that. At least they give the effort of doing that. It was a little too long. I will give you that. And I did not like that Chad Gable was doing the same moves to Penta, what Penta would do to Chad Gable. He was going after his shin, going after his knee. I'm like, that's Penta's shit. Like, I didn't like that. Like, he did sell overly too much to Chad Gable, and that I didn't like. And yeah, it should have been Pentagon Jr. Lucha Underground Dark Pentagon match against Chad Gable. It should have been a massacre. It should have been 3 minutes of playtime for Penta, and it should have been done. Maybe like 30 seconds of like comeuppance from Chad Gable, but that's it. That's it. And
then destroy him.
And you could have destroyed him. And he could have done the heartfelt speech afterwards. It didn't matter. But doing a 7-minute match, which again, it was a good match, but a couple botches, if that's true. And so I understand everyone coming out there.
I thought I was watching a Jade match all over again in AEW when she first got over there.
Yeah. And speaking of, go on.
Here's
Joe.
what they're gonna do. They're with Penta. They're gonna eventually have him merging with Dragon Lee, which is his brother. Yeah, and they're gonna and then eventually, as time goes on with that, that's when Ray Phoenix is going to make his way in, and they're going to be almost like a death triangle,
which they need to. And shout out to Dragon Lee, you're a good wrestler. You're no Phoenix. Don't try to be. Don't try to be. I'll give you warning, sir.
But if you put him with Phoenix and Penta, they will shine.
Yes. However, until Phoenix comes and arrives, he needs to not act like his brother. Phoenix has because Joe, Phoenix has a particular style that's just like it's deaf or nothing. Dragon Lee ain't there yet. Motherfucker, you ain't there yet, bro.
But I don't know how the fuck they're gonna work that into WWE TV because they don't want that.
But they're gonna try. But next match, we're not gonna rate this. Next match, Lyra Valkyrie versus Dakota Kai for the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh,
Joe, just go because I love you so much. Go on now.
Fuck Lyra Valkyria. She's barely been on fucking TV and she's a champion now. What the fuck? Like Dakota Kai worked back from an injury, has been putting in the work, winning matches, looking good, doing it, and they fuck her over and give it to somebody who's had maybe 3 matches in the past 9 months.
Plus, there's a Irish conspiracy going out that Sheamus won a championship, Becky won a championship, Lyra won a championship. All Irish.
I don't know, man. It's a bunch of bullshit if you ask me. I think Dakota Kai deserved it more.
Now, let's talk about the match. My girlfriend saw it for the first time, Lyra, because Lyra was in NXT for a little bit, helping take Hayden. We talked about it and disappeared again. Here we go. We got a little comment before I go. I would love to see him do things outside of lucha tropes. Was true. Another comment: Lyra versus Dakota was short and sweet. Love that too. And Lyra was always going to be over Dakota. Never seen it any other way. Now, My girlfriend saw this match for the first time, a casual viewer, and she said it herself that it was like watching someone underwater. Very slow in the beginning, very choreographed, super choreographed in the beginning. And even I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck? It only got good around the end when Lyra did her little like side backbreaker and then did her little special. Again, I'm happy for her. Didn't really need all that fireworks and shit for her, but I'm like, all right, what the fuck ever. But I'm actually going to rate this. I Dakota Kai would have been a good choice, but none of these two would have deserved the belt. Honestly, in my opinion, it would have been someone else. It would have been someone else.
I just feel like Dakota Kai put in more work to earn it.
Yeah.
Than Lyra Valkyria has put in.
True. I can't contest that. It was a good match, but it was just sorry, man. I just say it like that. Be back. Your thoughts on it?
I honestly felt like that was the wrong decision to have that girl win that championship again.
Yeah.
Dakota, she's been there 7 years, which I didn't know that she's been there that long. Which, that just shows you what they've been doing with her, which is pretty much nothing outside of the damage control.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like she needs to get her due at some point because as young as she looks, she's approaching 40 in a few years. And mama, if they don't crown you now, then mama, they ain't gonna never do it.
That's right. That's right.
And she's too talented to be stepped over like that.
Yep.
She don't need to be the Mickey James like of this generation for that women's division. They need to be honoring her and her talents.
I feel like Lyra gets the push because of Becky Lynch.
Yeah, of course. That's what sucks about it. Like, but that's her. Let's see like that. Next match: Sami Zayn versus The Miz. Now, this was a standard Sami Zayn versus The Miz match. They fought plenty of times. However, for the first time ever in my history of Sami Zayn, he actually won with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Holy shit on a cracker. Joe, your thoughts?
My thoughts. Well, I don't understand why they even had this match. It was a throw-in match that wasn't even announced.
Mm-hmm.
And why not let him win with the Blue Thunder Bomb? It's not like he's doing anything else.
Yeah.
Hey, man, don't disrespect Sami Zayn like that, man.
Huh?
Don't disrespect Sami Zayn.
Man, Sami Zayn looked like a bum that's been sitting on the sidewalk like collecting change.
Damn.
Hey, I done gave him a box of crackers and everything. He don't want them. Like, man, I want some money.
I get it. But the thing I bring up is this: like, he has never won with Blue Thunder Bomb. He showed it out in NXT. He showed it out in the beginning of WWE. He did it against John Cena. He never has ever won. Maybe once or twice, supposedly.
Everybody appears at risk for broken.
But
So we just feel that you don't have it.
I got you, Joe. But to say like this, I will say that for
man,
him,
I can't believe the Lions lost tonight, bro.
Oh, poor Lions. I respect that. And thank you for Sir Butter.
Are they winning?
Sammy solid. There, you good? Thank you. For Sammy, keep doing more of the Blue Thunder Bomb. Let it shine. I love that. Hula kick first, then Blue Thunder Bomb second. Great. Let's move on because this doesn't even need to be talked about anymore. Street fight. Damien versus Finn Balor. Yeah, I will say this. I will say this before anyone says their comments. This was a very good street fight in the sense of like they beat the shit out of each other. I did love that. I was a little scared for Finn Balor because he was near barricades. You know how I am with Finn Balor and barricades. Everyone coming out at the end was a fucking schmoz, and I hated that. Really hated that. And Damien winning by that, but I had to explain to my girlfriend because like halfway through the match, Finn Balor got in a gurney and was leaving, and my girlfriend's like, "Oh, it's over." I'm like, "No, it's a blood feud. If it's a blood feud, you have to defeat him. You just can't leave him in a gurney." So him getting Finn Balor and bringing him back, that was pretty funny. Shout out to Joe in the hospital. But in the end, Damian Priest won, and the feud should be over. Judgment Day should leave him alone now. Joe,
This,
go.
this better be over.
Yes.
That's first off. Second of all, what happened to fucking Finn Balor's push? Huh? What happened to Finn Balor's push? Fucking WWE. Man, fuck Damian Priest. I want to see Finn Balor get a push. I want to see Finn Balor win a championship.
Yeah. In a minute. He hasn't at all. And it's
He's a workhorse, man. He deserves to be a world champion again.
Yeah. I get that. Mr. D-Walk, your thoughts on the match?
I mean, he never did lose the title. And then they never pushed him. Let's push a new talent. How about we tired of seeing the same fucking matches every fucking week? The same fucking people with the same fucking feud. How about we fucking do a new feud? That's what pissed me off about WWE. Come on, man.
I don't like the choreography and the camera work of the new Raw.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
B-Mac, your thoughts on the match?
Like if that's the best that they could offer, I was unimpressed because I've seen better. And Sammy, why is he there at this point?
Yeah.
They're never going to really trust him to be that guy. So why is he jobbing to everybody and being a comical clown that he's been since getting there, when he could have been in New Japan by now or somewhere else, at least getting taken somewhat seriously as a champion?
He's being a bum and collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, he reminds me of the new age Miz mixed with Dolph Ziggler. And it shouldn't be that way because he's very athletic and talented.
No, you're right. It just sucks to be that way, honestly. And it's just the way it is.
I want to see Sammy start coming out. I want to see Sammy start coming out with a coffee cup.
Now, that comment, I actually want to talk about this comment. That'd be funny. He broke Sammy. I love the camera work as well. WWE has above the field. The problem with this is that, like, the drone, like the last time the drone camera came out, it was late. So it kind of felt like it's like, oh shit, boom. And then they cut the drone off. I'm like, oh, they fired the drone. Even my Invisible Woman said, like, they fired that drone guy that night. Camera work is kind of sloppy on the second episode of Raw.
I have not liked the camera work on either the first or second episode of Raw. I think the camera work has been trash altogether. The camera work has been trash, and you could tell the difference when you go to watch SmackDown on USA and then you watch Raw on Netflix. It's shit. It's garbage.
Oh,
complete garbage.
Okay, I was trying to find a SmackDown network. I forgot what it was on USA. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like the camera work's kind of shoddy. Like the whole thing when Sami Zayn came into the ring and the drone camera followed him. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And you know how Sami is with his hands. I thought I was gonna hit him by accident. I was like, just get the hell out of here. I understand they're trying new things and they have to because Netflix always wants to try new type of techniques for camera work, but it's just not working in this episode. And next week, which is going to be in 2 days, I will watch it, obviously, because I want to, like, my girlfriend, this is her first ever, like, experience watching Raw because it's Netflix and everyone's like, oh, it's Netflix. We got to watch it there. So I will say this. I don't want to see any more storylines with the Judgment Day, at least for a while. You have 2.5 hours of TV or 3 hours, depending on what you want.
Yeah. Another thing, they were mad about Penta's segment going long, and then they ended the show a half hour early.
Yeah, and then they said no, we chose that because Netflix is always lenient with us. We don't have to do 3 hours. We can do 2.5 hours, 2:45. I'm like, then why the fuck you bitched about Penta? But speaking about Penta. And speaking about bitching about something, on NXT Time with D-Walk on Wednesdays, we're going to talk about the Corey Graves shoot shit that he did in Twitter, and now they're trying to turn that shit into work by sources. So we will talk about that on Wednesdays at 9:30 on NXT Time with D-Walk with Mr. Flint 810. Ladies and gentlemen, what this was P.U.W.F. 2-hour show, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's enjoy it, live it, love it. D-Walk turned into drunk walk, then turned into anger walk, then turned back into D-Walk. So I love him for that. Shout out to Mr. coming in. I love you too, man. Shout out to Joe being safe and being alive. I love you guys. Shout out to Invisible Woman. Mr. B-Mac, give your socials, please, so they can find you.
Yes, y'all can follow me at it's Milando _Marv on Twitter with 4 B's, and follow my wrestling podcast at Double Count Pod, which I will be creating my official YouTube channel for my podcast soon. And y'all can catch me every Wednesday night at 10 p.m.
Nice. I'll put the link. Once you make the YouTube
With that
channel,
being
I'll put the link
said, I was on Christian's show last night, and we didn't kill each other. So all is well.
That's good. I like that, man. Shout out, Mr. Joe BNCO. Please say your socials.
Joe BNCO of the P.U.W.F on Twitter, I believe, or X.
Yes.
And also Instagram. And Joe BNCO on Facebook, Joe BNCO on YouTube. Joe BNCO on TikTok, I believe.
Until tomorrow.
Unless it's a deal sign.
Yeah.
And what else?
That's
I don't know.
Y'all
I
got
have social media everywhere.
And then TikTok is gone.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitch.
Okay.
I said y'all got till midnight, and then like a TikTok is no more.
Okay, I got 30 minutes over here. Where are you on Twitch, Mr. Joe?
JBIANCO835.
Check that out. Mr. D-Walk can be found on Mr.Flint810. Where's the other places, Mr. D-Walk?
Dennis Walker on Facebook, Dennis the Menace on Instagram, D-Walk84. If you want to find me on goddamn motherfucking Cash App.
Yeah, nice. Well, we'll get that link later on Wednesdays. You can find me. You can find me Alex Coquito, ALEX space COQUITO, or Rican Reactions, RICAN space REACTIONS. You want to see my Patreon, which is $10 news, $5 movie reviews, or free videos, whatever the fuck I feel like it. Check me out on patreon.com/Alex Coquito. Stay healthy, stay happy. We have one more comment before we go, and I always honor the comments. Give me a second. Sir Butter. Give me a little laugh. Thank you, sir. Stay healthy, stay happy. P.U.W.F on Saturday next week. It said Wednesday we'll talk about Mr. Flint. We'll talk about Mr. Corey Graves. And on Saturday, because it's wrestling news, we'll talk about something. Because it's wrestling news. It's always something, right? Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Keep, motherfuckers.
Damn, Rican, where you found this? P.U.W.F exclusive. This is the podcast for unappreciated wrestling fans. If you don't like it, suck our D-Walk, Joe BNCO, and the Invisible Man.